There's something very important I forgot to tell you. What? Don't cross the streams. Why? It would be bad.
Right, welcome. First episode, Crossing the Streams. Pew, pew. Every once in a while, there's an issue that transcends all of us that I was going to talk about, Sicky Nix was going to talk about on his show. So we thought maybe now's the time to bring it together. Now, Egon told us, he warned us, don't cross the streams, but we're big boys. We can handle it. I love that. Where'd you get that from?
Actually, I got Monopoly is my favorite game. It's ironic that I do real estate, but I got this dope ass Ghostbusters Monopoly set, and it comes with it, and it's like where you hold your chance cards. It's got like a little pocket right there.
Oh, I love that.
So it's like, interactively while you're playing, you just hit the button. It's pretty cool. You really buy those Monopoly sets for the pieces because you get it's like a proton pack. Yeah. Like a proton pack and the violin and like the receptionist's glasses. Like it's cool.
Yeah, what's better than that?
I mean, come on, man. I used to play a couple years ago. I used to have like a little Spider-Man Lego figure I would use whenever I'd play. You can use whatever you want.
Right. That's the great thing about Monopoly. You don't have to even use the pieces. You can
use a quarter.
You can use a Lego, whatever you want to do.
Whatever you want to do. It's your world.
So I would think the issue that we will go into is Mr. Will Smith and Mr. Chris Rock.
I think I have an explosion here somewhere. That's not it. Hold on. That's not it. That's not it. There it is. Yeah. I should label these.
Maybe after the show.
Yeah.
That'd be great if the show is you just sitting and labeling.
Yeah, just trying to figure stuff out like
Sicky Nix.
All right, that's Macho Man saying my name.
Well, let's cut to the clip.
Yeah, let's go right to the clip because I'm very interested in what you have to say about this because you're a lot smarter and a lot more reserved than I am. So I feel like your take on it's going to be amazing.
All right, well, I appreciate that, and let's cut to the clip.
You know who's got the hardest job tonight? Javier Bardem and his wife are both nominated. Now, if she loses, he can't win. He is praying that Will Smith wins. Like, please, Lord. Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right? That was a nice one. Okay. I'm out here. Richard. Oh, wow. Wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
Wow, dude.
Yeah.
It was a G.I. Jane jump.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
I'm going to, okay? Okay. That was a greatest night in the history of television. Okay. So we are here to give a documentary out, to give an Oscar out for Best Documentary. Now, the beauty of documentaries, because they make you, when you watch one, you feel smart. Like you watched like you read a book or something. But all you really did was get high and watch Netflix. So here we go. The documentaries, the nominees are, let's just go to the nominees. Ascension, Jessica Kingdon.
There is a lot to unpack there.
So I played the end of that clip for a reason. Because the first thing that me and my wife talked about when I said, hey, did you see this? Was, is it fake?
Right.
I think that was the first thought that a lot of people had.
I think the audience thought it was fake, at least even the first time he said, keep my wife's name out of your mouth. Half the audience was laughing and half was like, wait a minute.
Right. And so I played the end of that clip because if you watch, Chris Rock seems very nervous.
Yeah.
At the end there. Like he's stumbling with his words. He can't really introduce the category. And then he's like, oh, fuck it. Just put it up.
Yeah. He flipped the words. Like he's like, we're going to give out the best documentary to and we talked about this during text and stuff yesterday. Like when people are saying, is it fake or not? Like I bartended for years and years and years. I don't know if you've ever worked in like that kind of capacity, but I've seen enough people take jokes too far where things get serious, and whether they like it turns into a fight or someone's like, listen, that's enough. And the person that was making the joke kind of like, oh, sorry. I've been that guy too. I've gone too far with jokes where someone's like, seriously, if you say another thing, I'm going to smack the shit at you.
Yeah.
I could just tell. I could be wrong. It could all be a play. I mean, these are Oscar, Will Smith just won an Oscar. He's a good actor. But in my personal opinion, I think it was completely out of left field. Chris Rock even called him Richard when he was coming up for King Richard. If you watch it, like when he comes up, instead of saying Will, he's like, uh-oh, Richard.
Yep.
And it was totally unexpected. He didn't know what was going on. Pops him, goes back, and Rock, like you said, was stumbling. He's like, and I think he took it with a lot of grace, man. Like, I mean, to get smacked in front of millions of people and kind of just roll with it and not make a big deal of it.
If you look, Chris Rock kind of starts to reach back a little bit there for a second, like how you naturally would, like to swing back at somebody.
Right.
Which is another reason why it looked real to me, because he had that automatic reaction, to kind of like, like, oh, we're about to fight. And then he remembered, oh, wait, I'm on the stage at the Oscars right now.
Right.
I think he had no choice but to kind of like, but how does he know at that point that Will Smith, like he doesn't even know what's going to happen after that?
Yeah. I mean, I got to be honest with you. Like that's a long walk. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not, it's like, if we're sitting next to each other, let's just say me and you, hypothetically, we met out having lunch somewhere, and we're sitting next to each other, and I say something slick, like, and you just out of a reaction, because I offended you, just smack me or hit me. Like there's no, then I could be like, oh man, I offended him. It was reactionary. It's not a big deal. But this is kind of premeditated to a degree. Like he walked a good 40 feet with the intention of smacking Chris Rock. Like, it's not, you can't, it's almost hard to forgive it. Cause it's like, yo, he got up, walked all the way up the stairs, all the way up the carpet or whatever, stood in front of him, smacked him, and then walked away and then started to talk shit.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, what do you think was going on in Will Smith's head? It to me, it doesn't seem like he was that mad at Chris Rock. It just seemed like he just got sick of it. Like sick of all the shit for the last couple of years or something.
Well, my friend Deanne had a good point that Will Smith was laughing, at first, and then you see what's the wife, Jada.
Yeah.
Jada. I mean, you see Jada kind of grimacing, kind of rolling her eyes. Now I don't know if she said something to him or he just saw how she was reacting, and then he said, "Oh, he was probably thinking, oh shit, I'm going to win an Oscar and go home and get ripped by my wife."
Yeah.
So he kind of was at a crossroads there in his head. Either I do something and, risk all of this. And obviously he's thinking this within the span of 5 seconds,
Yeah. I mean,
either I do something or I this could affect my, my relationship with my wife.
I wish I knew what she said to him, because I feel like, I'm sorry, I'm adjusting my camera here.
Right.
I feel like she must have said something that's like, whatever she said was the last straw. Like something set him off, because he was laughing, and she even giggled originally while during the Javier. And that's what we were talking about a little earlier before we got on the live, is I only watched it from the initial joke. I didn't watch the Javier Bardem joke. So in the context, when you add that to it, it's clearly a joke. Like it's like Javier, he's saying Javier, like obviously if Javier wins, his wife can't win, or if his wife loses, he can't win because it's gonna be trouble at home. It's
Right.
perfect joke. It's a perfectly crafted joke. And then it comes to Will Smith, and he kind of says the same thing, and then he picks on Jada's bald head. But I mean, she shaved her head like a GI Jane's. I thought it was an appropriate joke. It's not like Ricky Gervais calling them all pedophiles.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That was much worse.
Now, if someone got up and slapped Ricky Gervais, I would have been like, well,
Right.
they're incriminating themselves, but I get it because it's insulting.
Yeah, I was thinking of Ricky Gervais actually when it happened too, of how much worse what he said, and the audience didn't like his jokes at all.
No, because it was implicating that they're all in bed with Epstein and all that, which they probably are most.
Yeah, but nobody slapped them.
No one slapped him.
You know.
Yeah, I would think like, well, what do you think about it? I want your take on it. I'm a silencio por favor for a second.
So on which part of it? You said what Will Smith was thinking, or
actually, you know what I'm interested in? You're a married man. I'm not a married man. If someone said something slick like that, which is kind of like not that big of an insult, but it's enough of an insult that your wife's offended, what would your reaction be? Would you do something similar? Would you pull them aside afterwards? Would you?
That's a good question.
I mean, I don't know. I don't see you as someone that would walk 50 yards, 40 yards and smack somebody. But if they were right next to you, you might.
So I think the man in you wants to say, oh, I would slap him. I would, go up to him or whatever. But not all women, I think a lot of women look at that as weakness. Like you're letting the guy get to you.
Okay.
So I don't think with me and my wife, I don't think my wife would want me to put myself at risk to go to jail or get sued or something like that over, some bullshit. Right. So I think the real answer would be probably I would probably look at my wife and be like, what do you want me to do?
Right.
I'll go up to him if you want me to. It really would be whatever. I'm not going to let somebody disrespect my wife.
Right.
But I'm not going to ruin our life over something that's not worth it. So for me, like the mature thing to do is to, walk away, not, do that. But I don't know. It's a good question. In terms of Will Smith at the Oscars, I don't know if I would go in front of the world and assault somebody.
Right.
But yeah. there's no denying that she looked very aggravated.
You're right. She did. She really did. But it's kind of like I almost feel like it, and I could be wrong. I don't know. I've seen, this happened Sunday night. So it was everything on Facebook Monday. That's the only, if you scroll through, I actually took Facebook off my phone for 2 days because if you scroll through it, every single post from every single person was about this. And you get all these different opinions like, oh, he did the right thing. But I mean, it was like, I want to say it was like 1585. 15% of the people sided with Will Smith. Most people sided with Chris Rock. Like, you can't just go up and assault somebody at all.
Tiffany Haddish said it was the greatest thing she's ever seen.
Yeah, but you got to understand like where she comes from too. Like I read her book. Like she comes from like Compton. Like she grew up in that world where if you disrespect somebody, you get smacked, and a lot of us did.
Well, she said actually she said the men that she was around actually would not defend their women. So she loved that he defended his wife. She loved that.
Did he though? But I don't know. I don't feel like that was really defending her. Like she shaved her head and he made a G.I. Jane joke. And one of the arguments I've seen is G.I. Jane was one of the best movies for female empowerment of the 90s or 2000s. I'm not sure when it came out. I think it was like 97 or 98 or something. And it's about a powerful female character. So the joke was basically, oh, your head shaved. G.I. Jane 2 with Jada, or G.I. Jada. Someone posted a meme, G.I. Jada. I don't see how it was that offensive. Considering all the stuff, if you take into context all the Will Smith and Jada Smith stuff that's gone on all year where she was, they have an open relationship or whatever, and she was banging some rapper,
Right.
and she's very public about it, and everyone's roasting him for that. I almost feel like this was a kind of the straw that broke the camel's back, to be cliche. Like, it was just like listen, it's enough. I don't know. Do you think they have a history? There's clips of Chris Rock talking shit about both of them for years.
Well, do you remember? Are you referring to the Oscars in 2016?
I saw that clip. That was one of them. There was a couple of them.
So where he said, Jada Pinkett Smith is boycotting the Oscars. That's like me boycotting Rihanna's panties. I wasn't invited.
Correct. Yeah. I saw that one. And there was another one where he said something that I think was worse. So my question is, like, is this something that's been building up between the two of them? And, this was it. Like, you said another thing.
Yeah.
Of all the people in the crowd, you picked her out. He could have just said something about Will, because, he was, if you're rolling off that joke with the Javier and his wife both being nominated, roll into a Will Smith being nominated joke, kept it mild like that. Like, well, Jada wasn't nominated, but so, like, if Will goes home and he wins, like, it's all good.
Right.
Or whatever. But then he hit her with the, making fun of her baldness. Now, I don't know. It seems very complicated. I think what everyone can agree on is that you can't just fucking hit somebody.
Well, yeah, that was, to me, probably the most. I don't know, to pick a most surprising part of that. It's probably the 10,000th time we've said something was surreal in the last 5 years. Everything is surreal now.
Yeah, you're right.
That's the only description anybody has. This moment felt very 2022 to me.
Really?
Yeah, because, I went off about the Deshaun Watson thing, how he got the largest contract in NFL history, while still facing 22 civil charges.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
You're not just talking about the Browns, signed him with all that going on. They gave him $230 million guaranteed, the largest ever. Now you have him.
I was going to say, now explain that. And this happens a lot on my show because Johnny and Matt they're like you. They're really into the NFL and sports and stuff. And I don't necessarily understand it all. So I'll say to you what I would say to them if they brought this up. Deshaun Watson is $230 guaranteed. Does that mean no matter what? Like, if they get rid of him after week 3, he still gets the money? Or if he goes to jail for all these assault charges or whatever, like, how does it work?
Well, that is a good question. I have not read the contract. I don't know if that's even accessible, but I'm sure there must be something in there that if he's convicted, I don't know if he can go to jail. I don't know how civil court, criminal court is over now. So I think.
Okay. So it's just civil.
So I don't think he can go to jail still. But I'm sure there must be something written in there. But what 230 million guaranteed to me means is that it's guaranteed. Now, what the Browns can do is it's probably in there where they can cut him after a couple of years, and he won't affect their salary cap, because you only get so much money you can spend based on your salary cap. So what they have is, like, there's dead cap money, right? So there's some guys where, like, let's say, like Kareem Hunt, let's say the Browns owe him, I don't know, 10 million, right? And if they cut him, it could be either 10 million dead cap, where they cut him, but the 10 million, they don't get the 10 million back,
Okay.
Or you can cut him and you get that 10 million back on your salary cap. But what guaranteed means, that I believe, is that he gets the money either way. It's just a matter of how it'll affect their salary cap. So guaranteed is guaranteed.
There's got to be something. Actually, I think I did read something, and I don't even think I should say it because I don't know how true it is, but there was something where they set it up that, like, only his first million or something would be available for them to sue him for, because the way they set up the deal, like, he wouldn't even get the guaranteed until after like 2 years. So all the civil stuff would be over and done with. So, like, all these women that are suing him aren't going to get any of that guaranteed money. Does that sound familiar? I don't think I'm making it up. I don't follow football that much. but I think I read an article that said something like that.
No, that's exactly right. So the way that works is in the NFL, you could pay like, all right, so Watson's going to get 46 million as his annual salary every year, right? But the first year he only has a $1 million salary. And the only thing that the NFL can take from him when they suspend him, which I think he will be, is his salary. So the bonus is untouchable. So he gets that 45 million straight up, free and clear, right off the bat. I guess it's kind of like when you win the lottery, and if you get it over time or you get a lump sum, they gave him a lump sum. And they knew why, and we all know why they were doing that. To try, that was a selling point. Hey, if you come play in this dumpster fire of a city, we'll give you 45 million. When I don't know what conversation happened, but I don't know if they directly said, hey, we're going to give you this money, so when you get suspended, you're going to get paid anyway.
I feel like they're gonna. Can you? Oh my god! Like you're blowing my mind right now. Can you believe the implication? Like to me, here are the implications of this to me is that hey, we know you're probably gonna lose half of these civil cases, so we want you to come play for us. What we're gonna do is we're gonna set it up this way so that if you lose these cases, they're only gonna be able to take this, but you're still gonna get that. Like, how disgusting is that?
That's why I was so aggravated by it, because they really, he actually said,
you're blowing my mind, John.
Yeah, well, he actually was not going to go to Cleveland, right? So and keep this in mind, because you might not know this. He's not even a free agent.
Really?
The Texans already had him signed for the next 4 years. So
how does that work? They're paying his salary from the Texans?
Well, no, he was on the Texans. But he wanted to be traded, and they wanted to trade him at this point. Right. So he was going to Atlanta, he was going to Cleveland, he was going to New Orleans, and they were basically trying to sell him because he also had a no trade clause, so he would have to approve of wherever he was traded to.
Okay.
Yeah. So none of this is normal, by the way.
Okay.
I mean, a few guys have a no trade clause, but it's not common. But he was one.
Like Tyreek Hill must have had one, right? Because he got to pick where he went.
Oh yeah. He. I don't know if he had one officially or if they were just kind of like being nice.
Being nice. Okay. All right.
Like
okay.
If you want to go to the Jets or the Dolphins, hey, I want to go to warm weather.
Right.
So,
okay. So
Watson had. So he goes to Cleveland, and he says, "No, I'm not going to go there." And then he has a planned trip. He has a trip planned to go to Atlanta, and people are thinking, "Okay, that's where he's from. He's from Georgia. He's probably going to go to the Falcons." And then all of a sudden, he goes, "Oh, I changed my mind. I'm going to go to the Browns." It's like, maybe that 45 million, and them saying, "Hey, we're going to give you 230 million guaranteed. We're going to help you beat the system. So even if you get suspended, you get 45 out of the 46 million you're going to get that first year." That was part of the discussions. They're like, "What do you want?"
I know. I don't know my ass from my elbow when it comes to this kind of stuff in the NFL, but just from what you told me 5 minutes ago, like it seems like that was part of the deal. Like that's how they got him to go there, is because they're like, "Hey, listen, we're going to take care of that."
Yeah, 100%.
We're going to move things around so that when you get sued by all these people, they're only going to be able to touch this certain little bitty bit, and then we'll suspend you for 5 games, whatever the NFL requires,
right.
And you'll lose this much, but we're going to sign you for this huge deal. So it's not going to matter. You're still going to get 230. Like it's disgusting.
And there's no doubt that's what happened, because he wasn't going to go there. So they sweetened the pot to the point that he's like, fuck it, I'll go there. Like, who wants to go to Cleveland? Nobody.
No,
it's and from what I'm hearing, so the owners are all they're in our backyard right now. They're in Palm Beach.
Okay.
At the Breakers Hotel for the annual meeting. And apparently the Browns owners, people are not too happy with them.
Well, no shit. They just kind of like, it sounds like they just juiced the system to get this guy out of like jail time. Or, you know what I mean? Like they were offering him things that they shouldn't be able to offer in an NFL contract. They're like, we're gonna play it like this so you don't lose your money when you get sued. Like what? It's
Right.
wild, dude. It's wild.
I'm not really sure anything like this has ever happened.
I've never heard of anything like that.
Well, the NFL. So again, I'm kind of explaining it to you because you said you don't know all the ins and outs, right? The NFL is not like baseball. A lot of contracts are not guaranteed.
Right.
And really, unless you're a quarterback, or maybe I don't know what Tyreek Hill's contract was with Kansas City, but unless you're one of the best of the best, your contract is not guaranteed.
Right.
So what they did is they just blew up everything for every owner now, because now Lamar Jackson is going to want guaranteed money. Every quarterback coming up the pipeline is going to want guaranteed money.
Yeah. They're setting bad precedents.
Yeah, really. I mean, this is bad. Yes.
And it's all for naught because no one gives a shit about the Browns, and they're not gonna even make the playoffs. Or
if there is any karma in the universe, they are done. I mean, what they did here, and then they what kills me, Nick, is when they say, "Well, but we really care about the victims and about women being assaulted." You don't care, and I'm tired of people's words, right? Like, oh, well, we're going to do the wrong thing, but then we're going to have our publicist issue a statement saying how much we care. Like, you don't care. And you just showed you don't care.
So let's bring it back. What did you think of Will Smith's apology when he won the Oscar?
I thought the same thing. Just own it. Own what you did. Like the next day after like you said, 85% of the world is saying what you did was wrong for various reasons. Now you're going to say, oh, I'm sorry to Chris Rock. And, oh, I was, I couldn't handle the words that he said, so I lost it. And like, just own what you did.
But he didn't apologize to Chris Rock in his speech. He didn't apologize till the next day.
Right. So you're not sorry. So why? Like, I'm so tired of people asking for people to apologize, and I'm tired of people giving in. Did you see the Bachelor thing last year? That was such a joke. So this guy, there was a girl. I'm ashamed that I know anything involving the Bachelor. By the way.
Well, you're married, so I mean, it's kind of part of the. If you're married or you have like a long-term girlfriend, you're definitely watching The Bachelor and like Survivor or what's the other one there, Big Brother. Like you gotta do it. It's part of being in a relationship.
Yeah, and we go to Marlins games. She watches sports with me, so it's equal.
Yeah, it's like a trade-off.
So the guy Chris, what was it, Chris Hardwick or something like that? Whatever his name, the host. So there was a girl on the show that went to an antebellum party when she was in college. I guess there was kind of like, Old South related, which can kind of get, into that problematic part of the South.
Okay. Yeah, I think this sounds a little familiar. Keep going.
Yeah. So, so she went to that party in college, and then I guess it came out of her dressed up, in that kind of way. And it didn't look good, because 1800 South can get, has connotations to slavery and, Confederacy, right? So I guess, it wasn't a good look. So people were mad about it, and the girl said, she was young, she was 18, she didn't know better, whatever she said. And he came and said, like, listen, like, who among us is perfect? Like, I mean, she was a young girl. She went to this party. She made a mistake, whatever, and people just destroyed him. Like, he's defending her and like, all this stuff. And he ended up sending this apology where he said he had a shame he brought shame to his family. He disgraced himself. He's so sorry.
So wait a minute. What did she do in the antebellum party that was so offensive? Did she like go blackface or something?
No, I think it was just,
because I mean, if you're just I obviously I don't know the story, but my initial reaction is if you're just doing like an antebellum party, you're doing like a Southern party, and you're just wearing big fluffy dresses, and you're like dressing period pieces and stuff like that, and listening to the music, like that's not inherently racist. That's just it's like going to a Roaring 20s party where you're doing the ragtime. You know what I mean? Like, was it that, or was it like a Paula Deen thing where she had the waiters dress up and like be slaves for the night? Like,
Paula Deen
two different things.
Yeah, the Paula Deen stuff was pretty bad. I don't think it was that level. I don't.
So what's the issue? I don't get it.
I mean, all he was trying to say is none of us are perfect. We've all done stuff when we were younger that would have gotten us canceled. If you didn't,
yeah.
then you weren't really living. I mean, who, when you're a kid, is going to do everything that, oh, I don't want to look bad in 30 years?
Yeah, you're right.
You know? So that's what he was trying to say, and they just completely destroyed him, and he got, But talking about guaranteed money, his contract was guaranteed. So so he still got like, $20 million, even though he quit.
Well, I remember like
God
Chris
bless America.
Hardwick. Chris Hardwick, he's been on everything, and he was on when The Walking Dead was actually decent.
Yeah, and not an extreme guy.
Not an extreme guy, and he was on the after show, like the Walking Dead after show, and he never he is so what's the word they say, vanilla. He's just so how is if you're gonna make Chris Hardwick a bad guy, who isn't a bad guy?
Right.
He's such a dork. Like the guy knows. Like you can ask him about like Walking Dead issue 47, and he'll literally tell you panel for panel what it's about. Like, now did he like sexually assault or whatever they claimed? No, he didn't, because they found him innocent, and then he went on and had another show after it. So, like, it's just people trying to ruin people with clout. People trying to get money. They're trying to civilly sue people. It's kind of ridiculous, to be honest with you. It makes me scared. Like, what if we do 50 episodes a here and on this thing crossing the streams, and me or you say something offensive to one person, and then all of a sudden it turns up, and like no, we'll get YouTube takes it all down. Like, what the fuck? Like,
and nobody really knows what the rules are, right? So some people are being taken down, and other people are being left up. And it's not really clear. I mean, politics are definitely a part of it. And that was another thing with the Watson thing, right? So Aaron Rodgers got raped this year just for basically, giving what he really felt. Like, if you say the truth of how you really feel, you will be dismantled.
Yeah. Well, he didn't play the game.
Right.
He just said, hey, this is my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't care that I'm in the spotlight.
Right.
I'm not a politician. I'm not gonna run down the middle. Hey, listen, I support this person. I do this. This is what I like. Fuck off. And I think more people need to be like that. And I've never been like a right wing person. I don't even like talk about politics really when we do this stuff.
Right. Same.
But I'm kind of getting 3 years later, 2 years later, why people like Trump.
Yeah.
I'm really starting to get it, because everyone's so offended and pissed off about everything and making a big deal about such shit, like such dumb stuff.
Well, Trump was the other extreme, right? So, and I agree with you. That was the appeal. People were tired of the political correctness, tired of not being able to really say anything, you know. And Trump was this kind of hero to people that felt that way. That, hey, here's a guy who has, we don't really know how much money he actually has, but he has enough money to say whatever he feels like saying.
Right.
And Ross Perot was kind of the same way.
Remember that? I'm millionaire Ross Perot.
Yeah. Nobody owned him, So Trump was a more animated Ross Perot, I guess, in some ways. And Trump actually was Reform Party before he became, he was Reform Party, he was Democrat, he was Republican,
It was all over the place.
Right. But anyway, in terms of what you're saying, that he's one extreme. I think I think he definitely goes too far with some things he says, But then you have the other extreme where, you're seeing in the Supreme Court that's getting traction, where they asked the Supreme Court justice to define what a woman is, and she wouldn't do it, And people, again, I don't think it's an appropriate question to be asking the Supreme Court justice, but it gets to the heart of that. One side will not say anything about anything. They just are one big publicist, And we know that's not how they're really living. Like Cuomo in New York, he wasn't really, doing the right thing, with women, but he's saying all the right things. And his brother is on CNN, and he's saying all the right things. And meanwhile, they're doing kind of the same stuff that the people they're criticizing are doing. but they're saying it, but they're saying it in a way that makes it look like they actually are different. So basically it's these two different extremes that people are being forced to pick from, and everybody's like, I think probably a lot of people in the middle are like they're both crazy. That's how I feel. Both sides are. I mean, one side can't. If you ask them what the sky is blue, if the sky is blue, they say, well, what is the sky?
Well, I was just gonna say that. I was just gonna say that, like, remember like a year or two, well, maybe 2 years ago when they had that dress that was either blue and gold or black and white. It's like it doesn't matter. You can tell someone, hey, this says Hulk Hogan, or it says Hulk Hogan, right? And they'll be like, no, wait. Well, if you read it backwards, it actually comes from like Leviticus 4, and it's like it's a satanic thing. Like, what? Like, it's people just like to argue. Everyone's a contrarian, and there's no. How do you find a middle ground? Most Americans are in the middle. Right. I've always been on one side. I'm not going to say which side. I've always been on one side, and I've gotten in the middle for the last couple of years, and I have friends on either side that are extreme, to the point where they're like, "Oh, if you don't vote for Bernie Sanders, I'm never going to talk to you again." And then a person on the other side is like, "Hey, thank you for helping me sell my house. Here's a Glock because you're against gun rights." And I'm like, I'm. What are you talking about? I have my concealed carry permit. I'm not like, so people are just gonna think how they think, and it's hard to distinguish, and it's annoying as fuck.
Yeah, it is. Because people will say if you don't pick a side, then you're part of the problem. Basically, you're going to get hit by both sides of traffic.
Yeah. What is it? If you don't stand for something, you fall for anything.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think it's kind of ironic, right? Because they make it seem like the people that are independent are part of the problem, but actually, I think you said most Americans, I think, are in the middle somewhere. But it looks like everybody's on the extremes because the two extremes are just so fucking loud.
Yeah. Loud and dumb.
Loud and dumb. So I'll be honest. I don't know how you get around it, because Americans, even though they're in the middle, what they gravitate to is entertainment, and you can't be entertaining by trying to see both sides. It's not doable. You have to kind of pick a side to get that kind of traction.
See, I kind of feel like after, how do I say this? Like, my personality is such that, like, you can sway me either way. If you give me a good argument, hey, this guitar over here is black. Why is it black? Well, the neck is black, and the neck is black and the pickup's black. Oh, okay. Consider it a black guitar, I guess. And if someone else come in and be like, no, it's brown because the whole like face is brown. All right, it's brown. Like, I mean, I'm not going to argue with you. Right. You're making good points, but don't like ostracize me or like make me feel bad because I don't agree with you. Like, I think it's a guitar.
Right. That's the part I have a problem.
Fucking guitar.
Yeah.
Who cares? Like, why are you wasting so much energy on trying to tell me that I'm wrong? Go away.
That's my thing. People should just say what you believe in, rather than focusing on what somebody else is wrong. Say why you're right, or say what you think. Everything now is just about is just reactionary, right? So I don't actually have any real views. I'm not going to say anything, right? But as soon as you say something, I'm going to tear you to shreds. While I sit back and say, "Oh, I respect everybody and everything, and I'm just I'm perfect in every way."
Oh, I love this one. Be that as it may.
Right. Right. Well, my dad, he loves it is what it is. I always hated that.
My dad's done that, but it's like he's like a sweet guy. He's super like you'll tell him something like real, like really like, oh, this happened and it was, one of the worst days of my life, and like my friend did this and he passed away, and like blah 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 blah, and you go on like a 20-minute rant, and he'll be like, well, it is what it is. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, man, you can't like you can't offer me anything else.
You know what the greatest part of that expression? You could either step in a puddle or, 10 people get murdered and you say, oh, it is what it is. Like it could work for anything. It's a catch-all.
It's a catch.
You know what it is? It's the
100%.
baby boomer. It's the baby boomers trying to just feel better about, whatever's happening.
Or they don't have a response. Like they don't have a good response to it. They're just like, well, sometimes a dozen kids die in school. It is what it is. It's it's what God wanted.
Is it that much different than saying it didn't affect me?
Yeah, not in my backyard. Remember George Carlin? Not in my backyard.
You never hear anybody that when it actually happens to them say it is what it is. It's only when it's not you.
That's right. All right. I think we should bring it back to like fun stuff. Politics is getting crazy.
Yeah, we'll bring it back. Hey, man, wherever it goes, crossing the streams, man.
Crossing them streams. Like I'm.
You're Mr. Cigars and fun, and
I like to. You know what? I like to smoke cigars. I never smoke them in the house unless I'm doing a show, a podcast, and I'm like, I justify it in my brain, like, well, the place won't smell that bad if I just smoke one cigar a week in the house. After a day, it goes away. Usually I sit outside and do it because I sit outside with the dog. But when I'm on the show, or any show, your show, my show, anyone that invites me on a podcast, which is always humbling. I like to, like, this is my relaxed time. So it's like, I like to have a beer, have some Jameson, smoke my cigar, and we're bullshitting. We're talking.
Yeah.
And I like that. It's like if we had a poker night. Remember like, 10, 15 years ago when everyone was single, and poker was a big thing. You'd be like, hey guys, we got 5 people coming over. Everyone puts in $10 and we're going to play Hold'em for 5 hours and get drunk and hang out. And we're not causing any problems. We're not slapping Chris Rock in the Oscars. We're just hanging out. We're talking shit. So that's kind of what podcasts are. Like that's what this is all about.
Well,
actually, let's bring it. I mean, it's up to you, but I still respect your opinion so much that I want to hear it. Do you think? Because I wrote some notes down. I got this cool thing, and I hate to puff Ellen up, but this is a little whiteboard that you put on your desk. And I guess I saw it at somebody's house when I went over there for Christmas or something.
I love whiteboards, though.
Oh, I got 100 of them.
Yeah.
But this one sits on your desk, and it's got a little drawer. You put your markers.
Oh,
it's ridiculous. And then you can just be like, "Hey, these are my notes for the show." Beep 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 beep.
Love it.
So the one note I had on here that I really, really, really want to hear your opinion on. Do you think Will Smith, to bring it back, should have been arrested?
That's why I was bringing up the Watson thing, that it ties into no consequences today, right? Because you get this guy has all these charges, but he said the right thing, and now he gets all this money. Now you have Will Smith assault somebody on global television, and it comes down to, oh, well, Chris Rock didn't press charges. So really there's no consequences. So I think
he should have been arrested regardless of, like, getting arrested doesn't mean charges are pressing at you. It means you did something illegal and they take you in.
Everybody wants to put everything on the victim now. It's like, well, is the victim going to do anything? When I was growing up, I don't know about you, Nick, I always thought you just couldn't do something. I didn't think like, well, you can rob a bank, but if the bank doesn't press charges, then you get to keep the money. Like, I thought, no, you just can't rob banks.
Right, yeah, but the state presses charges.
Right, but why are some crimes? Well, what if let me ask you this. What if he punched them instead of slapped them? Is it still up to pressing charges? Like what if he, where is the line? What if he stabbed them? Like, where is the line? Like,
keep going.
So Chris Rock is sitting there bleeding on the stage. They go, I'm not pressing charges. Okay, then it's fine. Like,
I'm going to, my only real world response to that is and I don't want to dive too much into it, but I think it's relevant. Is I got in a car accident.
Scared.
I got in a car accident on Halloween. The girl hit and run me. And when I was talking to the lawyers and I'm trying to figure out like how I'm gonna get my car fixed, how I'm gonna get medical treatment, all this other stuff, the lawyers literally said, and I told them, I go, how do I press charges? How do I sue her? Like, and this is what the lawyer said to me. Well, she probably doesn't own anything. I go, what does that mean? Well, she probably doesn't own anything. So if you sue her civilly, you're going to have to pay us to sue her. But if she doesn't have any assets, she can just declare bankruptcy and you'll never get anything and you still have to pay us. And I'm like, but wait a minute. I was just driving down the street minding my own business and she fucking T-boned me and put me in the hospital. And I've been in physical therapy for 4 months. And it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Okay. So what the fuck?
I've dealt with some situations too that I won't go into on the show, but I've experienced the same thing, that when you actually need to get, what's the word? I don't like justice, I guess, you find that a lot of times there isn't any. And like you said, even, if you have the money, well, if the person you're suing doesn't have the money, then there's nowhere to get it from.
No, you can't get blood from a stone.
Right. So a lot of times, that advice was correct. That a lot of times, everybody in America thinks when somebody does something to you, oh, just sue them. Like it's that easy. Oh, just sue them. There's all these hurdles you have to go through, depositions, discovery. There's all these legal things you have to get to before you actually issue, the right to sue. Well, you get the right to sue, but then you issue the letter that you are suing.
Right.
And then that's where settlements come in and, all this back room kind of stuff. And in the end, like a lot of stuff doesn't even go to court. Everybody just signs a non-disclosure,
right,
and it's like it never happened,
Yeah.
So nobody tells you that when you're 10, right? They say, do the right thing and it'll work out.
Nobody tells you that when you're 40. They sell you insurance and they sell you all this other bullshit. And then when it actually comes down to the brass tacks, you're fucked.
Do you know what it is, Nick? It's the Wizard of Oz and the curtain.
Ooh. I like references like this, so continue. I want to hear this.
Yeah, well, you get to the end of the yellow brick road and you look behind the curtain and Oz is not the little guy. It's not who you thought it was.
We got to give you a boom here. Hold on, I got you.
Hot take. Damn.
That was fantastic, dude. You got it. You fucking hit it right there.
And I think that's part of, the wonders of adulthood, right? You learn that the world, they say, there's a quote, right? You spend the first half of your life learning, and then you spend the second half of your life unlearning what you learned.
Unlearning it.
And that's the thing. When you get older, you're like, oh, okay, this doesn't go how it's not what I thought it was. So, yeah, and Will Smith, the short answer is, why wasn't he arrested? Everybody saw what happened.
How much more evidence do you need?
I got a question for you.
Tell me.
Because I used to be a security guard at the Funny Bone, which back then was the second largest. I did an open mic night once before.
Okay.
Big.
Let's write that down. Hold on a second, because we're gonna have to get you on a stand-up special. All right, go ahead.
I'm not gonna do stand-up, but I'll talk about stand-up. But
you'll do it.
Yeah, definitely not gonna do it. But it's hard. I told you I did it. I didn't tell you it went well. But I used to, I was security, and the comedians would talk to me and they'd be like, "Oh, John, I know you got 5 minutes in you," and I had already done it before, and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good."
Yeah.
Oh, dude, especially in 2022, we're talking about a stand-up that got slapped in the face here, man. I'm not trying to do that, but back then, so I was security there. It was funny. A comedian told me once, this girl had gave me her number, in front of him. He's like, why is the security guard getting numbers and I'm not? You know, so I was pretty proud of that. But anyway, so I worked there, and you know, I was security. So we would stand on different sides of the stage. We had a hypnotist come on, and they would actually tell the audience, do not stare at the candle on your table because you will fall under. That's how real it was, right? So if anybody's phone went off, it would fuck up the whole show. So we would have
so you get in a mood, yeah.
yeah, we would have to, you know, kick them out. You know, I was security, I was a bouncer. So my question is, what was the conversation going on with security when that was going on? Like, there had to be something. Like, what do we do? There had to be some discussion, because then at that point you didn't know if Chris Rock was going to press charges or any of that. It was all happening in the moment.
In
So
my
what were
opinion,
they doing?
In my opinion, it was like, oh, you know, all right. So I hate to steal, but if I'm giving credit, it's not stealing, right? One of my favorite comedians, Chrissy D, said this today. He said, Will Smith smacking Chris Rock and not getting arrested is white privilege. It's literally the definition of white privilege. Like, someone like Will Smith, the security guard saw, like, oh, I mean, now I think his implication was like Will Smith is above, you know, in Hollywood, he's above. He can do whatever the fuck he wants. He smacks someone, no one's gonna do anything. But I think like the real story is he's okay, so there's two things. The security is probably like, is it a bit? I don't know if it's a bit. They probably didn't know. So like, oh, maybe they're doing a bit, whatever. But the other side of it is like, it's Will Smith. Who the fuck are you making? You know, if you're working at the Oscars, let's assume they're making 10 times what a normal security guard would make. So they're making, $5,000 to be there that night. Do you think these guys are going to come in and drag Will Smith, the biggest movie star in the world, out of the Oscars when he's nominated? No. And why? Why would they not do that? I'll tell you why. It's because that's probably like the biggest gig they've ever had. And it's just like me and you. If me and you got hired, you used to be security. I did security like maybe for like 3 weeks. Like I'm not saying I was like licensed or anything like that. But if you hired me for the Oscars, I'd be fucking, wow, this is amazing. I get to be security. No, you go this way, you go that way. Will Smith walks up and slaps him. You think I'm gonna walk out there and rear naked choke Will Smith and drag him out of the Oscars? No way. No way. There's no.
Then you'd be famous.
There's no way. There's no way. I would be assassinated.
I'll go.
I'd disappear.
I will go psychologist on you here.
Go.
The observer effect, where everybody thinks somebody else is going to do something about it. That's what it felt like. I know you want to be happy and have fun and all this shit, but you know.
Yeah. I hit the button. I hit the right button that time.
I'm going to time it right.
Go for it. Get into this. You got 3 minutes about this observer effect. This is perfect. Go.
I mean, okay, maybe it's not the fun topic, but it's reality, right? So in Florida, we had some women that were assaulted on a beach a couple years ago, right in public, in the middle of the day.
Really?
Nobody did anything. Why? Well, for one, when you see something completely nuts, your brain wants to try to figure out, there must be a reason. This must be okay. And I think.
Uh-oh. Hey, Bubby. You froze up, Johnny. I like where John's going here. His stream froze up a little bit. But he's right. The observer effect is here's my guess, and he can respond when he comes back, is people see things going on and don't respond. Not everyone is built to be a 911 respondee. Not everyone is a firefighter. Not everyone is a cop. You know, and those people respond to issues like that. Like that's how they're built. They see something going on, they jump in and get it. I can't wait to hear what he has to say about this because he's a psychologist.